Have you ever wondered how some politicians seem to win elections effortlessly? The truth is, many of their strategies are hidden in plain sight, and they're not what you might think. In fact, a staggering 70% of voters say they make up their minds about a candidate before they even see the debates or read the policy proposals. That means the real work happens long before the polls open. Consider this: $1 billion in dark money was spent on the last US election, often without any disclosure about who funded it. That's money from anonymous donors shaping your choices without you even knowing it. Or how about this shocking statistic? A study from Cambridge University found that by analyzing just 300 of your Facebook likes, data companies can predict your personality better than your closest friends can. This means your vote can be influenced in ways you never even considered. In this video, we'll dive into the secret world of political strategy. You'll discover how invisible psychological tactics influence your choices, why data is more powerful than you think, and how some movements are just illusions created to sway public opinion. Prepare to see elections through a new lens, where every ad, every soundbite, and every social media post is a carefully crafted strategy aimed at winning your vote. Stay tuned, because the truth behind how politicians actually win elections is more surprising than you could imagine. Chapter 1: The Power of Invisible Influence. When you think of elections, you probably picture rallies, debates, and yard signs everywhere. But here's the thing: the real battle for your vote happens in ways you don't even notice. Politicians and their teams rely heavily on psychological techniques to get inside your head. One of the most powerful tools they use is priming. This means that certain ideas or words are repeated so often that they subtly shape your thinking without you realizing it. In fact, studies show that voters who hear the same words over and over are more likely to associate those ideas with the candidate. For example, if a politician keeps saying "strong" or "leader" in their ads, those traits stick in your mind, even if they never explain why they're actually a strong leader. Then there's framing. This tactic is about how issues are presented, rather than the issues themselves. In 2004, political strategist Frank Luntz famously said, "It's not what you say, it's how you say it." Take the example of taxes. One candidate might call it a tax cut, while the other calls it defunding social programs. Same policy, different perspective. This simple switch can totally change how you feel about an issue. Politicians also use the availability heuristic, which is just a fancy way of saying they focus on issues that are fresh in your mind. If there's been a recent spike in crime or a natural disaster, expect candidates to talk about those topics a lot, because people tend to vote based on what's happening right now, not long-term trends. Psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman explain this in their research: when something is easy to remember, we think it's more important. So, while you might think you're making a rational choice at the ballot box, much of your decision-making has already been influenced, sometimes weeks or months in advance. The takeaway? Pay attention to the words and issues being repeated. They're not random. Chapter 2: Data mining your vote. In today's elections, data is king. Politicians aren't just guessing what you care about anymore, they know, often down to the tiniest detail. Thanks to big data and sophisticated algorithms, campaigns can figure out what issues you care about, which ads will work on you, and even when you're most likely to pay attention. Here's how it works. Everything you do online, every Facebook like, Google search, and even your Amazon shopping habits, creates a digital footprint. Campaigns buy this data from companies, and with enough information, they can predict how you're likely to vote. According to a study by Cambridge University, by analyzing just 300 of your Facebook likes, data companies can predict your personality better than your friends and family. Political campaigns use this information to tailor their messages to specific groups. This is called micro-targeting, and it's incredibly effective. For instance, if the data shows that a particular neighborhood is worried about healthcare, they'll send you ads about how their candidate will protect healthcare. If another area is more concerned about taxes, they'll tweak the message to focus on tax cuts. All of this happens in real time, with personalized messages sent to millions of people through social media ads and targeted emails. In fact, during the 2016 US presidential election, both parties used micro-targeting to send personalized Facebook ads to different groups. A report by The Atlantic revealed that some voters were shown up to 5,000 different ad variations during the campaign. That's a staggering amount of customization aimed at winning over undecided voters. So the next time you see a political ad that feels like it's speaking directly to you, well, it probably is. Your data helped craft that message specifically for you. Chapter 3: Dark Money and Shadow Campaigns. You've probably heard the phrase, "follow the money," when it comes to politics, but in today's elections, it's easier said than done. That's because of dark money, which is money spent on campaigns without revealing the donors. It's a big part of modern elections, and most voters don't even realize it's happening. Dark money comes from 501(c)(4) organizations, which are supposed to promote social welfare. However, thanks to loose regulations, these groups can spend unlimited amounts of money on political ads without ever disclosing who funded them. This allows wealthy individuals and corporations to pump millions into elections without any public accountability. In 2020 alone, an estimated $1 billion in dark money was spent on US elections, according to Open Secrets. And it's not just coming from big corporations. Super PACs, political action committees, use dark money to fund attack ads, often with misleading or incomplete information. This means the next time you see a nasty ad attacking a candidate, you may never know who paid for it. What's even more concerning is how dark money can shape not just the election but also a politician's policies once they're in office. If a candidate is elected with the help of shadowy donors, they might feel pressured to push for legislation that benefits their financial backers. That's a huge problem for democracy because it shifts power away from the voters and into the hands of a few wealthy donors. The lack of transparency is dangerous because it undermines trust in the system. Voters deserve to know who's influencing their elections, but with dark money, that's becoming harder and harder to track. As one campaign finance expert put it, elections are starting to look like an arms race, and dark money is the fuel. If you're finding this information eye-opening, make sure to subscribe for more insights into the hidden strategies of politicians. You don't want to miss what comes next. Chapter 4: Divide and Conquer. The art of strategic polarization. It might feel like politics is more divisive than ever, and that's not by accident. Politicians use polarization as a strategy to lock in their voter base and, quite frankly, to keep people fighting each other instead of questioning them. It's a tactic as old as time: divide and conquer. Here's how it works. Politicians focus on identity politics, appealing to specific groups based on race, religion, or cultural beliefs. By framing issues in ways that hit emotional nerves, they create an us versus them mentality. Research shows that voters are more likely to stick with a candidate when they feel like their identity is under attack. According to a study from Yale University, strong emotions, especially anger and fear, make people more loyal to their political tribe. This keeps voters engaged, but also deeply divided. Then there's the tactic of selective outrage. Politicians deliberately highlight certain issues that divide the electorate while ignoring others that could unite people. For example, instead of discussing economic policies that benefit everyone, they'll focus on controversial topics like immigration or gun rights. Why? Because these are issues that stir up passion and loyalty within their base, even though they're not necessarily the most pressing problems facing the country. We also can't forget about echo chambers, spaces where people only hear opinions they already agree with. Social media platforms and cable news networks play a huge role here. Algorithms are designed to show you more of what you already like, creating a bubble that reinforces your beliefs. As political scientist Cass Sunstein explains in his book #Republic, these echo chambers make it harder for people to even consider the other side's point of view. That's perfect for politicians who benefit from a deeply divided electorate. So, the next time you see a politician doubling down on divisive rhetoric, remember, it's not just about winning votes, it's about keeping you engaged, angry, and loyal to their side. Chapter 5: The Ground Game, Grassroots or AstroTurf. Every election season, we hear about grassroots movements, campaigns powered by ordinary people working together for change. But sometimes, what looks like a genuine grassroots effort is actually something else: astroturfing. This is when political campaigns or interest groups create fake grassroots movements to make their agenda seem more popular than it really is. AstroTurf campaigns are well-funded but designed to look like they're run by everyday people. For instance, big corporations or wealthy donors will sponsor protests, hire social media influencers, and fund ads that mimic the look of a grassroots movement. According to a study by Harvard University, nearly 40% of supposedly grassroots campaigns during the 2016 election had financial backing from powerful interest groups, often without disclosing it. Why do politicians and corporations do this? Because it works. People trust movements that appear to be organic, especially when they seem to reflect the will of the people. It creates the illusion of widespread support, even if the real numbers are much smaller. This can sway undecided voters and even influence policymakers who think they're responding to a popular demand. Take the Tea Party movement as an example. While it started as a genuine protest against government spending, it was later heavily funded by wealthy donors like the Koch brothers. Over time, what started as grassroots morphed into something more controlled and less representative of the average American. So, the next time you see a political movement that seems to come out of nowhere, look a little closer. Ask yourself, who's really behind this? Because sometimes, what looks like a people-powered revolution is actually just a well-disguised marketing campaign. If you want to stay informed and uncover more truths about the political world, don't forget to subscribe. This journey into the hidden tactics of politicians is just beginning.